2 weeks ago, Macleans magazine put out a poll saying Canadians are, quote, overwhelmingly satisfied with Canada's COVID-19 response, unquote. According to Macleans, quote, a little over 7 in 10 Canadians say they are either somewhat or very satisfied with the federal government, unquote. The federal government has been spectacularly awful in dealing with the coronavirus since we first heard about it in early January. Consider that China admitted on December the 31st that China informed the WHO about a cluster of 41 patients with a mysterious pneumonia. The next day, they closed the Wuhan wet market. On January 7th, China identified the novel coronavirus just days before its first death and released details of its genetic sequencing. 10 days later, the U.S. had its first reported case in Washington state. A week later, U.S. President Donald Trump banned all foreign nationals from entering the United States if they had been in China in the previous 2 weeks. And the Prime Minister? Nothing. By February 9th, the death toll in China had surpassed that of the SARS epidemic of 2003, which also emanated in China. On February 19th, the outbreak in Iran began. On February 21st, the outbreak in Italy began. By March 11th, the moribund UN organization, the WHO, finally declared a global pandemic. Trudeau? Still nothing. On March 13th, the US declared a national emergency, and shortly thereafter the US issued travel restrictions on the European Union countries, and scant days later included the UK and Ireland in that order. Trudeau? No, not so much. It wasn't until March 16th that the Prime Minister finally said Canada was closing its borders to most people who weren't Canadians. Yet, to this day, daily flights from Europe and China continue to come to Canada, seemingly unabated. The Prime Minister said that travelers would be subject to, quote, enhanced screening, unquote, at our airports. It turned out this meant that travelers were given a pamphlet telling them to self-isolate for 14 days. The Prime Minister has since spent more than 30 days sequestered at Rideau Cottage in Ottawa. Well, except for Easter weekend when he traveled to his summer residence at Harrington Lake, while telling Canadians to stay home and not use their cottages and cabins. He emerged for 20 minutes or so a day, blinking in the light to announce his latest spending initiative, racking up what was yesterday announced to be an eye-popping deficit of $252 billion. That's up from $26 billion in February. Stunning stuff. And make no mistake about it, the People's Republic of China is responsible for the havoc wreaked on an unsuspecting world. Whether the virus emanated from the Wuhan wet market or the level 4 biolab in Wuhan, as the president suggested this week, albeit he did not give any details, saying he couldn't talk about what he knew. For clear evidence that China is responsible, we need look no further than the government of China closing the Wuhan airport in early January to all domestic travel. They knew that the virus was, at that point, contained to the Wuhan area, sparing any spread within China. But they continued to allow international flights to come and go, thus ensuring the virus spread globally, while the rest of the world was still oblivious. And yet, the Prime Minister and his Health Minister, Patty Hadu, are still supporting the Communist government of the People's Republic of China and refusing to condemn the WHO for their slow reaction. And yet, 7 out of 10 Canadians who have been shut in at home, businesses closed, earning no wages, their children's school closed, still think that the federal government have handled it well. For True North, I'm Leo Knight.